How's everybody doing? So my name is Francisco Lugo. I'm currently serving as the Director of Fraternity Sorority Life here at Georgia Southern. We will actually start the presentation at 6:35. We're just letting people in as they're coming in. So just hang in there for a few more minutes and we will get started with the actual presentation.
Oh.
Okay, so we are gonna go get started. So again, my name is Francisco Lugo. I'm currently serving as the Director of Fraternity Sorority Life here at Georgia Southern. And today we're gonna talk about the Panhellenic experience on both our Statesboro and Armstrong campus. So with me, I have a couple people I want to kind of introduce. But before we start that process, just kind of housekeeping things. If there's any questions, any concerns, anything that kind of you want to ask, feel free to use the chat function as we go through. We'll definitely go through them at the end, but also at the end, we're going to leave some time for you to ask questions as well. So in that process, just unmute yourself and ask the question. So hopefully you will leave today with a lot more information about how the Panhellenic process works on both campuses. So with that said, Laura, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Donato. I'm the Assistant Director for Fraternity Sorority Life, and I am primarily at the Armstrong campus, and I will turn it over to Casey Lee.
Hey everybody, my name is Casey Lee Neal. I am the Panhellenic President on the Armstrong campus. Some of you may have seen me as I am a SOAR leader, so if I'm seeing you again, nice to see you guys again.
Then we have one more student joining us, and she will be coming in a little bit late. But she will be here as well to answer questions as well from the Panhellenic community here in the Statesboro campus. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start off with talking a little bit about our community. So to kind of put things in perspective. So right now we have 40 fraternities and sororities on both campuses in combination. So basically we have, the way that is structured is that there's technically 3 governing councils on each campus that basically govern these chapters that fall under them. And we're going to dive deep into those in a little bit, but we kind of want to basically, like I said, put a primer in so you can start thinking that, again, yes, you're joining a specific chapter, but you're also joining a bigger community on either campus.
And why should you join a sorority? So we believe that when fraternity sorority life is done right, it is the best experience that you can have from your college career. The opportunities that you have from joining a sorority go so far from networking to getting involved in the community, from philanthropic or service focus to that leadership ability of having opportunities in your organization. And even meeting women who are part of your organization across the country. And so we truly believe that when sorority and fraternity is done right, it is the best experience that you can have.
So with that said, diving a little bit deeper into the community. So at the Armstrong campus, we have 10 chapters, 6 sororities, and 4 fraternities. If and when you join a sorority on the Panhellenic sorority, you will join it will be part of the College Panhellenic Council. On the Statesboro campus, we have 32 chapters, 12 sororities, 20 fraternities. And on the Statesboro campus, if you're joining a Panhellenic sorority, you will be joining the Panhellenic Association.
Okay, College Panhellenic. Basically, College Panhellenic is just the National Panhellenic Conference, an umbrella group for 26 national and international sororities, and they're all autonomous social organizations. NPC was just established in 1902. On the Armstrong campus, there are three chapters in the council, and they all work to advocate and support organizations for the advancement of the sorority experience. The chapters each have their own set of values they believe in and philanthropies they work to raise awareness for. At the bottom, you can also follow the Instagram for the Panhellenic Council on the Armstrong campus. Okay, so the chapters on the Armstrong campus consist of Alpha Sigma Tau, Phi Mu, Sigma Sigma Sigma. So we will be having Taste of Recruitment. If you're not sure you want to join, this is an opportunity for you to come. And it's just a day event where you see what recruitment is like, because recruitment is typically a week long, but you're just getting a glimpse of it. That's going to be on September 1st, 2020. And if you would like to go ahead and register for recruitment, you can. It will take place September 9th through the 10th, and there is a registration fee for $45. And that's just going to go towards like your t-shirt and other recruitment funds. And then there's also a video submission we're asking for this year because recruitment's going to be a little bit different. So just be on the lookout for that.
So basically at the Statesboro campus, we have the Panhellenic Association, which basically serves the same role that the College Panhellenic plays at the Armstrong campus. However, here in Statesboro, we have 7 or 8 organizations that are part of the Panhellenic Association. So those organizations are Alpha Delta Pi, Alpha Pi, Chi Omega, Kappa Delta, Kappa Kappa Gamma, Phi Mu, Zeta Tau Alpha, and then we also have Sigma Lambda Gamma, which usually does not participate in sorority recruitment. However, they're still part of the council. So when it comes through the Statesboro campus, letter of recommendations, and this is something across the board, I would say, is that Panhellenic does not require letters of recommendation. However, if you choose to submit a letter of recommendation, all the information is on our website. So if you either click on our chapter campus perspective or link and go to the Panhellenic Association, you will see the link that says reference letters. Just click on that. It has all the information for all 7 Panhellenic chapters that do go through the formal recruitment process. So just know that. Recruitment itself, the registration is already live and it will take place August 9th through the 15th. The registration fee is something that we're currently working on to make sure that we have the appropriate amount. So in past years, it was between $250 or 125. So this year it's going to be less. It's not going to exceed 125 because we know that there are some things that are not going to happen. So that fee is going to be looking very different. So once you do register and once we finalize how recruitment is going to work, you will be getting, we'll be updating the back end of the system we use to have you all register, and then you would have to pay that fee. The other thing that we've done is kind of revamped the application. So we kind of jumping ahead a little bit. Because of COVID-19, we are basically restructuring everything so like the Casey Lee hinted at, we will be doing recruitment completely virtual this year. So that's why we have completely revamped the entire application process. So you're going to be asked to answer a little bit more questions that chapters will be able to look at. You will also be required to submit a video as well, so the chapters can kind of see you and understand and get some perspective on you as well. So we are still finalizing how that everything else will look. So once we get that, we will send that information out. So as long as you're registered, you're going to be asked to do these things and get all the information. So just know that that's something that we are currently working on. But as of now, just know that both on the Armstrong and Statesboro campus, the sorority recruitment will go completely virtual.
Okay, and so when we look at our first semester dues, again, remember that fraternity sorority life is a financial obligation. And so your first semester is going to typically be your most expensive semester that you pay for. So if we look at our Statesboro chapters, again, their dues are going to be a lot more than what you see at Armstrong because of their houses. So there's some insurance that goes into it. There's some house upkeep, things like that. Your first semester dues also include sororities that do badges or pins, so that membership piece. There's some new member fees that go into that, and some other things that go into that first semester. So for Statesboro, we're looking at a range from $850 to up to $1,500 for the semester. And so the average cost that you can kind of expect to pay in Statesboro is about $1,200 for your first semester. And then when we look at Armstrong, again, same thing, but we do not have housing at Armstrong. So dues are going to be a little less expensive. We go from $400 to $700, and so that average that you can kind of think about what you might expect to pay is about $530 for that semester. Usually your second semester goes down. You've paid for a lot of the things. And if Casey Lee wants to jump in and kind of talk about her experience with that, go ahead.
Yeah, so my first semester, you definitely have to pay for a lot more. Like Laura was saying, like just new member fees, your badge, and just preparing for your first semester in your sorority. After that, there is typically a consistent fee that you pay each time. But I think all the sororities do have it where you can either pay everything up front each semester, or you can break it down monthly. I know a lot of girls in the sororities like to do it monthly, and it all depends on the sorority. They do it in different breakdowns as well.
So with that said, one of the things that in order for you to even be eligible to go through this process is you must have a 275 out of high school. So that is calculated by the admissions office. So if there's any questions, any concerns, we do have an admissions liaison that you can reach out to. So if you go to our website and click on the tab that says SOAR information, all that information is going to be there as well. So just know that we don't make the decision of that GPA. So if there's any questions, concerns about that's not the right GPA, reach out to our admissions liaison. Her name is Aubrey. She will be able to answer any questions that you might have about that. So students that come in with at least 12 credit hours, we will then look at a 2.5 overall institutional GPA. So just know that there might be a little bit of difference on that. So the other thing that I will suggest or let you know now is that we do not make any exceptions. And the reason we don't make any exceptions is that we believe that, again, in order for you to be successful in this experience, that you have to have come in with that, at least that GPA, because that's what we found that the women or men that come through this process, if they have this GPA, they're more than likely to be successful at the end of the day, right? So that's why we don't make any exceptions, and that's why the other thing that I would say is that we as an office understand that you are coming to Georgia Southern to get an education, not to join one of our chapters. So your GPA will always be important, but especially once you join the community, it's going to be a lot more important, because not only that are we as an office going to hold chapters accountable for our grades, but chapters are going to hold you individually responsible for grades as well. So just know that. In addition to meeting these the GPA requirement, we will be asking all of you to complete a hazing module online. So basically, we started doing this last year. So basically, it's a quick 1 hour module that you'll do, and then you will basically be done with that. So basically, it's just an introduction to what hazing is and how to report it on campus, because we want to make sure that you have that information from the get-go. The other thing that I would say is, if you are a dual enrolled student, you will not be allowed to join any of our fraternities or sororities on this campus. And lastly, something that came in through the consolidation process between Armstrong State University and then also Georgia Southern is that if you can only join the sorority on your primary campus. So if your primary campus is the Armstrong campus, you can only join those 3 sororities. Same thing for the Statesboro campus. If your primary campus is the Statesboro campus, you can only join one of those 8. So again, this is based off your primary campus, and you kind of know that already, because this is what you got admitted with to the university. So with that said, that's all we have, but we also want to give you the opportunity to ask questions. Hannah from PHA, our PHA president, just logged in. So there's, again, if you all want to ask questions, feel free. But I'll start with the questions. So I put it to both Casey Lee and Hannah. If you could talk a little bit about your sorority experience and what you've gotten out of it so far, so that way it kicks off the question. You're muted, Hannah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I should say, I just got off of work, so I'm like in the hallway at work. But my name is Hannah. I am the president of Panhellenic at Georgia Southern, and it has been an awesome experience so far. I had a little bit of an unconventional experience. I'm the first in my family to go Greek. I pay for my Greek experience on my own, and then I also rushed as a sophomore. And so I thought that combination of factors was going to complicate things and make for, kind of a difficult experience. But I found the complete opposite. Since getting in Greek life at Georgia Southern, I've been given so many opportunities for leadership, obviously, or getting involved in my community. I've met so many members of the community that have provided opportunities for service, opportunities to grow professionally. So really, I've just found that Greek life has set me up for a lot of opportunities that I may not have otherwise had. So that's why I advocate for the Greek experience. Obviously, there are the benefits of having friends on campus and having a place to call your own, because our sororities do have houses on campus. So those are all perks as well, but I have just found that the Greek experience overwhelmingly has been positive for me, and that I have been able to meet girls from all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of interests, all sorts of goals in life, all sorts of interests, all the things. So overall, I would just really encourage women to go Greek, and wherever your house is found, wherever your home is found, as far as different councils, I would just encourage women to go Greek, so that they can kind of reap the benefits that it brings. So yeah, Casey Lee.
Thanks, Hannah. Yeah, so I'm in the similar boat as Hannah. I'm actually like the first in my family to go to college, and I joined as a sophomore as well. And I also thought that was going to hold me back. But I mean, clearly we both joined as sophomores. We're the first in our family to go Greek, and we're now the presidents. So honestly, it's a very great experience. It helped me a lot. I used to be super shy when I joined. And then when I joined, I jumped into some leadership roles, and it really helped me come out of my shell and work on like public speaking and communicating with other people. I mean, obviously, I'm still not a great public speaker, but I'm definitely better than where I was. But what I think is really great about joining Greek life is I've met other girls from like similar backgrounds, but I think the best part is meeting girls from backgrounds that are very different from mine. Like you bounce off ideas, learn about each other and their experiences as well. And I think it's just a great way to make connections. Also volunteering with sisters and raising events for philanthropy. It just really opens your eyes to things you didn't realize, because college is all about seeing and new experiences and just trying to understand things that you didn't understand before. So I think this is a great way to do it, because you make connections so much quicker, and it's like making connections with women that are in other clubs on campus. So you do get different ideas of other experiences. But yeah.
So a quick note on that one, since you both addressed that already. So I think that there's this myth out there that you have to join a sorority or even a fraternity your first semester, your freshman year, and that's just a misnomer. I think what, again, as you heard from Hannah and Casey Lee, I think it's really up to you when you feel it's right for you. So we won't be pushing recruitment. I think that for us, yes, we want you to join and have a good time, good sorority experience, but it has to be when you're ready for it and when it's right for you. Because the last thing that you would want to do is join in a semester that doesn't make sense, and then things kind of spiral out of control. So just want to kind of hint at that, but again, that there's that myth out there that it has to happen that first semester freshman. It does not. When it comes to housing, that we got a question over the chat, is move-in still going to happen? Here in Statesboro, yes. So Statesboro Panhellenic is the only one who moves early, because we host sorority recruitment the week before school starts. However, we are still in conversation with housing to figure out what date that would be. So typically in a normal recruitment year, it would be on a Sunday. We know that that's not going to happen on a Sunday. So we are coordinating with housing and getting all the logistical pieces in first. But as soon as we have that information, we will definitely let you all know what that date is going to look like. So just know that, again, that's something that we already are working with housing and that. So again, this only applies to those that are living on campus as incoming freshmen. So basically you will be moving into your assigned residence hall for the year, if that makes sense. On the topic of houses, I know that here in Statesboro there are houses. So a couple things that we typically get asked: who lives in the houses and things like that. So typically you will not be asked to live on the house at any point, because there's that first year requirement for you to live on university housing for that. So after that, and Hannah, you can jump in whenever you want. Typically the people that live in the houses are typically upperclassmen, but also leadership within the chapter are the ones who live within these facilities.
Yes. So my experience with Greek housing has been very similar to what Francisco just said. Women are generally given the option if they would like to take a lease in the house. It is formatted in every chapter, very similar to just a normal lease somewhere where you sign for a room, and that is, what you will be paying rent for. So you do pay rent in chapter houses as well, but it is not a mandatory thing. None of our houses sleep more than 20. So it's never a compulsory thing where all women have to live in the house. It is like a voluntary situation, but chapters can also provide more information about their specific chapter process for how they give out rent or leases, how they select those women, things like that.
Thank you, Hannah. So a couple questions that are coming from the chat. Do you have to move in early since it's going to be all virtual? No, you do not. That's going to be an option that we're going to provide you. However, if you're going to be an incoming freshman, you will be asked to move in at some point during that week. That is at least my understanding as of now. It's up to you if you want to stay home and do it from home. I think it really depends on you and your choices on that. So again, because it is virtual, you can pretty much do it from anywhere. It doesn't have to be from campus or anything like that. I think that if you think that where you live, there's a poor internet connection, that might be something to think through. That again, might be easier to live on campus and get that university connection. That it's a little bit better. So just know that, again, those are options. So we will not mandate or say you have to move in whatever day we come out with. That's going to be completely up to you all to figure that out. When it comes to that, the question, how is virtual recruitment going to happen? Our goal is to keep it as similar to a normal recruitment process. Right now, what we can tell you and share with you all is that we will be using Zoom. As you all know, the university has an account or bought an account or license for Zoom. So all our students and faculty and staff have a Zoom account. So we will be using that. And then we're just making sure we have a good logistical understanding of how that would work per round. But the rounds are still going to be the same length. And we're still going to move it the same way that we would normally do it during normal recruitment. So our goal, like I said, is to make sure it's as equally done in virtual world as it's done in the real world, and that's really the hope. Any tips for your video submission? Yes. So for the video submissions, once we check your eligibility, you will be getting an email that says you're eligible, and it will have additional information about how to do the video. So there are going to be a couple prompts for you to do. There's going to be some guidelines of what to do and not to do. So you will be getting all that information once we check your eligibility. You will be getting all that information via email as well. The question is about bid day. So what we already know about bid day is that bid day will still happen. However, what we know is it's not going to happen the same way it has always happened. And that's just because of safety concerns and the whole current situation that we're living in through now. So what we have told our chapters is that basically they will have the option of either doing something completely virtual, doing somewhat of a hybrid option, or doing something in person. So if a chapter does decide to do something hybrid or in person, they will still be required to follow state, local, and CDC guidelines when it comes to social distancing, strongly encouraging masks and things like that. So just know that, again, bid day is still going to happen, but it will not look like it has always looked on either campus. So I'm going to throw this question to Hannah and Casey Lee about any tips on how to decide which sorority is a right fit.
Okay, Casey Lee, do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
You can go ahead and go first.
Okay, so one thing that I found going through recruitment is you will really quickly see, even via virtual formats, that each chapter has a huge variety of women in it, and each chapter has they all have, great activities. They all have leadership opportunities. They all have service opportunities. So you're going to quickly see which ones you like and which ones you maybe don't think are for you. And you'll just know by the people you talk to. You'll see where you could start to see yourself fitting in. You'll see, okay, they have this activity or that program that I would love to be a part of. They have this philanthropy that I really feel strongly about. So those are the kind of decisions you should weigh. I know that during sorority recruitment, it's also really easy to, look at sororities at kind of on a surface level and say like, oh, this looks like so much fun. But I would really encourage you to focus on the conversations you have and the sisters you meet. Take a look at their values. They'll explain those to you. Take a look at their philanthropies, see how they use their time. And when you look at how they use their time, you'll start to see if that's something that you want to be a part of. So you might see that, sorority XYZ, spends a ton of time working with kids in your community. And you might say, that's something that I care so much about. I want to be a part of that. I can see myself in XYZ. So I would just encourage you to look at those things first. Look at their values, look at how they spend their time. And that's going to tell you what a sorority is really all about. I know Instagram and things are super fun, and they can give us a good window into what the fun elements really are, but make sure you're looking at, what you want from your college experience, and try to find a sorority that is going to help you achieve those things.
Yeah, I think Hannah really hit the nail on the head there. You definitely just want to look at the values and, the philanthropies. I know that I picked the philanthropy for my sorority based off my career choice and how it was going to benefit me and how I could learn things as well. I think a lot of people sometimes make the mistake when going through those that they're not sure what sorority to pick. So they kind of pick what their friend that they've made or their best friend picks when going through. And sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. But you can go to a separate sorority than your best friend goes into, and you guys will still be best friends. I know a lot of my friends are in the other two sororities on the Armstrong campus, and I'm good friends with all of them, or I make new friends in the other sororities. I mean, heck, I have friends on the Statesboro campus that are in different sororities and I'm friends with them as well. So definitely just emphasizing what Hannah was saying, you know, the values and what you kind of want to do moving forward with your life and how that benefits you. But honestly, you can't really go wrong picking a sorority because all sororities on both campuses are completely amazing and they have amazing sisters. So I definitely just keep that in mind.
Do you care if I
No, go ahead.
talk?
You're good.
Okay, so rec letters are a hot topic. They come up a lot. We get a lot of emails about that. And I can speak for the Statesboro campus and then Casey Lee if you want to follow up for Armstrong. Our campus and our Greek life office, we do not require letters of recommendation to go through recruitment. However, if you do want to submit those, the information is on our website. And then you can also usually find that information on sorority websites. So I know for my national organization, our recommendation letters have to be sent in through our website. So we don't take mail-in letters. So that being said, you can absolutely send those if you want, and chapters will read those and they will see them, absolutely, but they're not required. You do not have to have them to go through recruitment, and it is not a detriment if you don't have them. It is totally okay not to. I didn't have any when I went through, and it still worked out just fine for me. So
Yeah, it's the same thing on the Armstrong campus. We do not require it. There are links on the website, though. You can submit letters of recommendation. I think one of the sororities, though, does not accept like recommendation letters at all. And also about the videos for submission earlier, I meant to mention that if you are not sure where to begin for your videos, we do have some of our PHAs on the Armstrong campus do example videos that you can look at just to give you like kind of a place to start and some ideas on where to bring it. But just have fun with those videos and just show who you like really are, because we just want to get to know you guys.
Yeah, and I would say that it's the same thing for the Statesboro campus. So I believe there's sample videos, Hannah, for that as well, right?
there are, sorry, I keep opening the chat. Yes, so you guys will be sent videos from our PHAs as well. One of those has already gone out. If you were already signed up for recruitment, you should have access to that video. And those will be posted on our social media and saved into a story so that you can see those, as well as being sent in an email.
So a couple questions here. Registration fee. So yes, so basically here in Statesboro, we would still add a registration fee because we are, one, we have to pay for the system that we use for sorority recruitment to kind of do all the magic on the back end. So that's an expense of the Panhellenic Council or Association is incurring. So there will be somewhat of a fee for that. And then we are in the process, which this kind of answers the question about t-shirts. We are figuring out how many shirts should we still provide since it's everything virtually. I think that what I would have recommended that we at least give one. So that's a conversation we'll continue to have with Panhellenic. So just know that that again, that's still going to be there as an option. And going back to that same thing is that we are going to keep recruitment the same way, the same schedule, the same setup. It's only going to move virtually. So we are going to try to keep it as similar as possible to the real version or in-person version of it. So just know that again, that's really our goal from both campuses. Recruitment videos are due. I think they're due different dates for each council, but they're due before, I'm guessing, the registration closes. Is that right?
Yeah, the videos will be due, and Hannah double check for Statesboro, but registration closes July 20th, so your video should be done for Statesboro recruitment by July 20th. For Armstrong, registration closes September 9th, so your video will need to be in by September 9th.
Okay, and somebody just asked about the videos again. The videos will be sent out to your email, and they will also be found on social media. And then as far as not having the fee so far, because we didn't know the format of recruitment, we did not set it up to initially include that fee just in case, because we didn't want to tell you guys the cost and then have to walk back and change it or anything. So when that fee payment link is ready for what we've established now as our recruitment structure, so virtual, that'll be sent out to your emails as well. And then you'll just be able to click through and pay it just like you registered the first
Just to add to that, for the Armstrong campus, the PHA videos will be on the FSL website under the Armstrong Panhellenic. So you can find that there. Excuse me, Laura, are we going to be sending them out, or is it just going to be on the website?
Yep. So they're not on the website now, Casey Lee, but just to backtrack a second. But when you register and I have confirmed your eligibility for recruitment, you get a long email from me that also includes 4 PHA videos for you to watch. It's toward the end of the email. There's a video, and this is as well as for Statesboro, there's a video of an instruction video of how to create your video, because we're asking you to do it through YouTube. And so we walk you through how to do it through YouTube with an unsubscribed link. So that way random people aren't watching your video. It's only going to be the chapters that are going to watch your video. And then we show you a video of how to upload it to Campus Director. So at any point you have questions on how to upload your video, just let us know. But we do have 2 videos of how to do that. And then Statesboro also has PHA videos as well of how to answer those questions.
So question about PNAMs going through recruitment, and are you going to be able to talk to each other? Yes, you're going to be able to talk to each other. So one thing that we'll definitely do is, and we've done it differently, I guess, over the years. So this year, we're going to still do the PNAM orientation that we typically do that Sunday when recruitment starts. So we will go through that. So basically what will happen is that you will be put in PNAM groups. So within that PNAM group, you will again have a community there. So the way that we are envisioning as of now, and this could change, so don't quote me on this, is that we are also going to create Google Classrooms that each PNM group will be part of. So that way it will allow you to communicate with each other, but also understand and submit certain things and have a better understanding of how the recruitment process actually works. So all that information will be there. We're currently working on creating that structure curriculum on the back end to make sure that we are addressing and answering all the possible questions you might come up with, but also giving you all the opportunity to, in space to be able to communicate with each other and sharing contact information and all that fun stuff. So that way, as you're going through this process, you do have somebody to talk to. With that said, within each council or each campus, we also have women who have decided to disaffiliate. They're called PHA, so they will also be part of the process. So you will not be going through this process by yourself. You will have the council officers, but then also the PHAs to really have these conversations and talk through whatever you need to talk through as you navigate this process.
And to go back in and pay for the $125 fee. So once the fee is put in on Campus Director, there's some things that we have to do as a staff on the backside of Campus Director. You will, when you log back into your account, you'll see that incomplete registration form, and that's how you'll know where to pay. And you'll just kind of walk through the instructions of where it shows you that you need to pay. We'll also be sending out an email to being like, hey, there's been a fee added. Your registration will be incomplete until you've paid that fee. And so until you pay the fee, you will not be fully enrolled into recruitment, because that is part of the requirement for the recruitment process.
So the PNM groups are basically assigned by the system. So those are randomly assigned. So we don't do anything on the back end to connect people with other people that they know, right? So they're completely assigned at random, and it's gonna be based on how many women are actually registered for recruitment. So that's really gonna base how large that group will be.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
I saw one pop up that was like attached to another question, and it said, basically, do you recommend we still go through now that it's online? And like, how do you recommend that? Like Fernando and Laura have said, we're going to try to keep this process as close to normal as we possibly can, with the exception of no gnats and no Statesboro heat. So be thankful for that. But we would still absolutely encourage you guys to go through. We recognize that this process is new for everyone. This is the first time the National Panhellenic Conference has ever done recruitment online like this. So it is new for everyone. But absolutely, we still, on the Statesboro campus, we still have 7 chapters that are recruiting this go around that would love to meet you. And I know that Armstrong has 3 that are very excited to meet you guys as well. So each of those houses are still ready to take in a pledge class, and they are still so excited to meet new women. So absolutely, we would recommend going through the process. And sometimes in that process, you find out that it's not for you, and that's okay too. But you'll never know unless you go through it. So I know that I don't regret going through recruitment one bit. So I would encourage you to give it a try. If it's not for you, that's totally okay, but it's worth a shot.
So the fee has not been added yet to Statesboro recruitment registration. So you will not have a place of where to pay yet. We are working on that because we wanted to confirm that that is the set price that we are going with is $125. So once we have determined that that is our set price, we will email everybody that has been in communication with us that the payment is now ready for you to go in and pay.
And also, just to clarify on that, it will not exceed 125, so it could be less. So just know that again, that's what we're trying to figure out to make sure that we are pricing it in accordingly to what we are going to be offering and things like that. So again, one of the things that I would definitely suggest is that you get comfortable logging in to your campus director account, because that's really how everything's going to work on both campuses. We are using Campus Director is a software that we use to navigate recruitment. So again, between now and August and September, get really familiar with the system, because that's the way that we're going to message you. That's the way you're going to receive a lot of information. So just know that again, as the better you know how to navigate the system, the easier it's going to be for you when you're going through the recruitment process. So the question in the chat is, what happens if I decide it's not for me after the first semester? Who wants to take that one?
I mean, I think Casey Lee and I should both answer this.
Yep.
So this process is by sorority. So a lot of people refer to it as like dropping your sorority or choosing to like remove yourself from membership or resigning your membership, are terms you'll probably hear a lot. So if you get into an organization and you decide it's not for you before you get initiated, almost every organization, it's kind of like no harm, no foul. You can resign your membership. And since you haven't been initiated, there's no other process to go through. You're just no longer a new member. Now, if you were an initiated member, each sorority has their own process for how they remove a member. I know for my sorority, it takes a little bit of time, but it's a very easy process. You just have to kind of be a little bit patient. So if you decide it's not for you, I would just reach out to your chapter, to your standards chair. So that's kind of like the person that handles all the rules for the chapter, or to the chapter president, or to your new member educator, and they can help you with that. But it's never something where you're like held against your will. Like you can absolutely, decide it's not for you and resign your membership.
Yeah, same thing on the Armstrong campus. You will have to also go through the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life and just sign a membership card pretty much. The worst part is that like if you have already paid some billing statements, then you won't get your money back. It's not refunded and all that. And some of the sororities do ask to return some of the stuff but that you've received, but that just depends on the sorority.
Yeah. And kind of going off of that, the same thing with transfer membership, it varies by sorority. Our organization's under NPC, so that is PHA on Statesboro and CPH on Armstrong's campus. They are all under the National Panhellenic Conference, but that means that the different organizations are all on their own. So each process for transfer is different. Most cases, though, you just notify your home chapter. So that would be Statesboro or Armstrong, whatever sorority you're in. You let them know what school you're transferring to, and then the chapter you're transferring to will handle the rest. Usually there's a process, like a new member process you have to go through with your new chapter, but that varies by sorority. But it is possible to do that as long as your university has the same sorority. You cannot transfer between sororities though. So once you are initiated into one, you're in that one, and you cannot be initiated into another Panhellenic sorority. You can go to a different council in some cases. Some chapters allow that. But if it is a PHA or a CPH sorority, you can never join another one once you're initiated, if that makes sense, like a different letter organization. So you know, if I'm in sorority A, I can't join sorority B, but I can go to a different chapter of sorority A, if that makes sense.
So quick clarification on the GPA. So basically, if you think about the 275 or the 25, that's the university minimum, right? So the reality is chapters might have a little bit higher standard than us. So for us, that's the minimum that we know a chapter will give you a bid for. So with that said, just know that, again, chapters might be looking for something higher than that. So just know, and you can definitely ask those questions as you're going through the recruitment process. It's really depending on each chapter because that kind of varies by the national organization and policy. When it comes to the hazing module completion, that can be done up to the last day that registration is open. It's only takes an hour. So again, you can, I wouldn't suggest putting it off, but you still have some time to do it. So as long as you can complete it by the time recruitment starts, you should be fine. Let's see what else. I think that's the only two questions there. Any other questions?
There was a question at the top about, I don't know if you answered already, about an email not going through to the PHA.
Yeah, I reached out to her on the chat.
Cool.
Yes. So someone asked, can sorority members talk to you? The answer in the past has been no, but now it is yes. Because of this new process nationally, it is okay for sorority members to reach out to you. So we do want you to get to know women in our chapters. We want you to get to know the PHA community and the CPH community, depending on your campus. So absolutely, they can speak to you. However, if you do have an issue with those conversations, if anything is said that you don't feel quite right about, or if you have questions, please reach out to CPH or PHA, depending on your campus, and we would love to help you with that and help you navigate those conversations.
With that said, I would also remind you that, again, they shouldn't be like bombarding you, right? So it should be some casual conversation. So again, if there's a chapter bombarding you, let us know and we'll have that conversation with that chapter, because we don't want to make things too aggressive, because they shouldn't be in the first place. So we want to make sure that it's as normal conversation as possible.
And to back up, I just added the link to our SOAR page. So we do record these videos and we put them onto our YouTube channel. So you can go back and watch. We did a parent one last week, and we do different councils, and Francisco has pulled up the SOAR page for us. So you can see down at the bottom where it says YouTube page, that's where we upload our videos. So this video will be up there, and that's where you can watch.
So question for Casey Lee and Hannah, how do we know if the sorority is truly a good fit now since it's virtual?
Okay, yeah, it's definitely going to be a different experience from when me and Hannah went through recruitment. My best advice is to definitely follow the sororities on their Instagrams. Definitely ask questions if a sorority member reaches out to you, or utilize our council pages as well on Instagram and ask questions and reach out. We're going to be sending out videos for certain nights. Just pay attention to those. And I think just asking questions is probably the best bet to do this. And just writing down questions in advance as well.
Yeah, I would totally just echo what Casey Lee said. Absolutely ask questions. I asked so many going through recruitment, so don't feel like that's a bad thing at all. Those women are there to give you a picture of what their sorority is like. So ask all the questions that you have. It's totally okay to ask about academics. It's okay to ask about finances. It's okay to ask about any of those things, and they will do their best to get you that information. So while it is going to be more difficult going through recruitment in an online format, it's really similar to what we're doing right now. Those women are still going to be able to answer your questions. They're still going to do their best to get you a full picture of what they have to offer. And then anything they don't cover, just ask, or you can reach out and ask the office, and we'll do our very, very best to help, figure out an answer to your question.
For the YouTube video, so this is your P&M video. You are just submitting this through YouTube. There should be no FaceTiming or anything like that with the chapter of women. When the virtual rounds happen, it'll be like this. in this setting. So we'll be able to see you when you turn your video on. You'll be able to see the chapter women, and you'll be able to talk to them this way. So there shouldn't really be any communication through FaceTime or anything like that. Again, going back to the messaging between chapter women, it should really just kind of be through, like, if you're going to DM each other on Instagram or anything like that, those are the type of conversations that should be had. And again, it should be Panhellenic minded as well. So they can talk about their chapter, but they also need to talk about the experience of being in Panhellenic as well.
And so we will definitely have a lot more information about what that positive contact looks like during the PNM orientation. So again, a lot of that information you will be getting as we start ramping up to doing those PNM orientations that we will start over this before even recruitment starts.
And to back up, I think there was a question about, will you know what SOAR leaders, or if they'll be involved in the sorority? Casey Lee, I'm going to pass that over to you since you are our SOAR leader.
Yes, we will be involved. So since we're SOAR leaders, we have to disaffiliate now, and some of the SOAR leaders will reveal what sorority they are after SOAR is over. But for my instance, and our VP of recruitment, we are both SOAR leaders over here, so we will not be revealing what sorority we're in until after recruitment is over. But they do participate in recruitment. If they're not a Pi Chi, they will be asking you from their sorority side and perspective questions and talking to you. But in my case, I will be just guiding as a Pi Chi and doing a more Panhellenic mindset for sure.
And then would it be one-on-one Zoom, or will the other girls see our interviews? So part of that is going to be on the chapters and how they want to do their Zoom setting when you're having the rounds of recruitment. So it could be that there is a potential new member, so you, and then one sorority sister talking to each other, or maybe a handful and bump group, or they're called breakout rooms, and that's done through Zoom. So part of that is going to be dependent upon how the sorority wants to handle that portion. It could be one-on-one, or it could be 2, 2, 3, 3, something like that.
So the PNM orientations will be online as well. So like I said earlier, it's going to be on a, right now, if nothing changes, we will be using Google Classroom to be able to facilitate that orientation. So it will be a mixture of some kind of instruction if you want to think through that a little bit, but also providing some video, but also some Zoom meetings that we will do through the podcasts and PNM. So that way you guys get to meet each other and talk a little bit more about how the process is going to work, and making sure that you have done everything that you need to do before recruitment starts. So that's really the premise behind that orientation piece, but mainly it's to make sure that you have a good understanding of how the process actually works. Because what we have found is that the more information we give you at the front end, the easier the conversations are throughout the week, if that makes sense. So that's why we want to front load you with a lot of information. You will still have access to it once recruitment starts. So if you have any questions and concerns, you can go back and revisit those terms and how the system works. But as of now, everything's going to be, again, from a virtual setting. Percentage of PNMs that get bid. So strictly talking about the Statesboro campus, as long as women maximize their options, more than likely or not, they're guaranteed a bid. So what we have found that the women who remain through the process or till Friday, which is pref day, more likely than not, they are in a good position to actually get a bid from a chapter. At that point, it really depends on the chapters you have that are inviting you back, right? So again, it goes back to what that kind of looks like on your end. And this is exactly what we're going to go over during that PNM orientation. So you have an understanding of how the system actually works and how you come up to the Friday, or what we call pref. So that's and how you end up in that round and making those selections at the end of the day. So all this will be covered in more detail within that PNM orientation. Same thing with concept at the Armstrong campus.
Yeah, we'll go over all of that. And again, so if you don't get a bid, if you do not receive a bid, you are eligible to still receive a bid even in the same semester. So if some of our, and again, this is going to get into the weeds, and we'll kind of talk more about this in orientation, but some of our chapters will have to continuous open bid. So just means that they've still got some seats on their roster that they can fill with. And so if you do not receive a bid through formal recruitment or that primary recruitment, you would be eligible to still receive a bid. You can wait until the spring semester if things get better and we can have in-person recruitment. That is absolutely an option. You can wait until spring, or if you want to wait again for another year, maybe if you're a freshman and you want to get a year of college under your belt, you can definitely go through as a sophomore. So you have some options, and we definitely cover all of that in orientation about what that means and at what point in the recruitment process, if you withdraw or don't receive a bid, what that means for your eligibility. For the pledge class sizes, so it's really all dependent upon how many women come through recruitment and how many are placed. Specifically for Armstrong, our class sizes are a lot smaller than what we see at Statesboro. Last year they were in the range of 15, and they kind of vary around that. They've been a little bigger previous years, so we're hoping that we can continue to grow. Our community at Statesboro, I believe they were 60 last year, around that size. Hannah, correct me if I'm wrong. So again, it's really just all dependent upon how many women come through recruitment and how many go through that preference day, as Francisco talked about, and then where they match.
Yes. So I know last year on Statesboro's campus, Francisco, you might also have to step into your pledge class. Sizes ranged from, I believe, 68 to 102 was the big. So it can be really any range depending on how many women are still going through recruitment at the end of the week.
So answer the question about number of rounds and days. So we again, like our goal is to keep it as succinct to what we have always done, and that's also goes back to the same days, same rounds. We're not taking anything away. So our goal is to keep it as closely as it has always been to the normal recruitment process. As far as certain dorms to live in, I think whatever dorm you're in, I think it doesn't really matter. It's going to be a virtual thing, right? So it doesn't really, I think that would be more of an interesting question to have a Hannah or Casey Lee answer if we were doing it in person, because we would do it outside in the Georgia heat. So that's not a thing anymore, right? So I think that as of now, that shouldn't be anything that would be a priority, if that makes sense. So I know we're coming up to 7:30. So with that said, couple of things to kind of close this out. If there's any questions and concerns, feel free to reach out to Casey Lee or Hannah. Make sure you're following their Instagram accounts. That's going to be definitely the source of a lot of information. I just put in the link to our Facebook group as well that we created for SOAR 2020. So if there's any questions, any concerns, feel free to pop them in there. One of us will go in and answer those as well. So again, we will also be dumping in a lot of information in that space. So just make sure that you're keeping a close eye on that as well. And also make sure that you keep coming back to our website, our social media accounts, because again, as soon as we know how everything's going to work, we're basically going to push that out through all our communication channels to make sure that everybody gets all the information. So that way you can be ready for that virtual recruitment on either campus. So with that said, I appreciate your time. And again, if there's any questions, any concerns, feel free to let us know. And we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.